Hello, this is Joseph Eiler, and I'm doing my presentation on my online lesson module that I made for my W200 course, and just kind of going over that and showing it. So going through it. So here are the academic standards that I covered, that being Indiana State Standards 5.C.1, which focuses on using multi-digit multiplication in the way of this standard algorithm, which is where you start with the ones, one multiplied by the ones, then you multiply by the tens, and then you go over to the next digit. So it's like that kind of approach. So my learning objectives were basically just three different levels of being able to multiply by in like increasingly more complicated ways using the standard algorithm. And so I started off with this engage step, which I used this little video here. And as it goes for engagement, enhancement, effectiveness, and the other one, I think it's pretty effective on efficiency is the other one, sorry. It's pretty good on engagement because it's a fun kind of music video, very enjoyable for the kids to watch, kind of gets them amped to learn because it's kind of a rock on track. Enhancement really couldn't do that without like this particular media format because I might be a bit of a musician, but I'm not that good. So I couldn't really pull that off that much of a show for them. What else? Then effectiveness, I think it just kind of serves to introduce them to the general concept pretty well. So I think that works. And in terms of efficiency, it's like about, I think, 4 minutes long. So not that long a video. So it's a pretty efficient delivery, I think. The next part would be a little worksheet to kind of test out the method they just learned in here. And so in that worksheet, you can see the problems here, 6 by 25, 3 by 42, and then the slightly more difficult ones down here to see if they can apply the idea better. So then we're gonna move on to the explore phase. All right. So yeah, on the 4 E's on this one. Effective, not that much engagement, not enhanced in any way that it couldn't be done by technology. It'd be fine to just do this on paper. And efficiency, it's just like 4 problems really quick, not that tough. Just kind of checking out to see how they're working with it. And then to the explore phase, here we have I believe this is a Flipgrid I made, which is basically focusing on like, hey, you had any questions? So just like, yeah, just a Flipgrid here for questions about this. And then moving on, I also made a Padlet where you go in there and write 3 word problems for your classmates to solve. Well, it's solve 3 problems your classmates wrote and solve new stuff. So on the 4 E's, this one I think is effective. Not that engaging, I don't think. Efficient, yeah, it's just gonna kind of quick. Hey, anyone have any questions, kind of thing. And generally, and for an online lesson module, enhances it in a way differently because the way that Flipgrid works is you basically take a video of yourself and then there's a discussion of responding videos, which is generally pretty effective for like engaging in a way that you normally couldn't online. So that's very interesting. So to the Padlet, I'll pull it up here. And a sec. So I came up with a couple different ones here. So it's like one finding out the size of a ranch or something, number of acorns per squirrel or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's good for engagement because the kids get to express some creativity there, and that they get a degree of their own expression there that really lets them kind of think about like how they could apply this generally. The word problem aspect of it is also good for that because it adds in some real world context that they might want to judge it up with. And then then on enhancement, this really would be really difficult to do in class. So the technology definitely facilitates that a lot. For effectiveness, I think it is this would be an effective way to get the students more just kind of like thinking about it as like a concept and like how to apply it. So I think it's effective there. And in terms of efficiency, it would be kind of middle of the road, not that great, not that bad, but I think it's good for what it does. Then moving on to the explain phase where they were trying to the explain phase where we're trying to get to kind of a more advanced understanding by asking them like about this and then having them try to put their thoughts into words. I have a video here kind of going through it step by step so that they can like get it in a formalized way that isn't just a song, because it can be a little tough to just learn from a song. So in terms of this, kind of middling on engagement. It's not that fun a video. It's from Khan Academy, so it's like moderately interesting. But in terms of efficiency, it's very quick. They can get through it probably, I think it's like 7 minutes. They can watch it and understand it pretty easily. And enhancement, this isn't like anything that couldn't be done with the other technology, so it doesn't enhance it to like some exponential degree. And I think it'd definitely be fairly effective. And then to the next step, I made another Flipgrid, and I had a QR code here. I'll just take it to the link, and then basically there was a problem I had here. Give me a sec. I'll actually log into this one. Give me a sec. I will restart the share in a second. I just don't want to. Okay, that's fine. Give me a sec. Yeah, back to this. Basically, Louis has 46 boxes, each has 37 cookies. So it's basically just another one of those word problems. But this time I was asking them to produce a video response of themselves explaining it. So we could get more of that explain phase, like actually engaging how they think about this. And I would also like want them to show their work as part of this. So they would like explain what they were doing in their work so that they can better understand what's going on. That then going further on, we have one where they would basically do the same thing, but just correcting this one where there is an error. There is an error in this problem that they made. So that was basically would be the idea with that one. In terms of these two, in terms of engagement, middling, not that great. Effectiveness, pretty good, I think, for what we're trying to do here in the explain phase, where we're trying to get them to express themselves and put their understanding into words so that they can, articulate it and therefore kind of crystallize it. And then in terms of enhancement, this is probably pretty good because in comparison to just like a traditional classroom setting, because you couldn't really get everyone articulating their thoughts there. You could only like do one or two. Pretty much the same because it's the same tool and a very similar problem for both of these. And moving on to the apply phase, where we're kind of trying to take it a step farther and having them actually having their crystallized understanding and then applying it to the problems. I kind of had a little quiz they made, and I told them to submit that to my email there. And then, so I mean, it's basically the same format as the worksheet from earlier, just a little bit longer, and then there's a word problem at the end. 6 questions, not that tough. It's kind of similar stuff to earlier. And then this is the first one that is 2 digits, 3 digits by 2. So that's just kind of building up to my final learning goal, which was to do 3 by 2. And then going on to the next step, I had them make a little comic that would be a word problem, which is kind of like a fun little thing for to like get the 4 E's kind of up there and going. So for engagement and such, for 4 E's for this one, good. Probably not that good engagement. Pretty good effectiveness in terms of like diagnostic tools, seeing where their understanding's at. It would be pretty easy. Enhance, not, it's not, it doesn't have any kind of special enhancing qualities because it's literally just a test, and that could just be done on paper in a traditional classroom setting. No biggie, no big difference between those two. And then in terms of effectiveness, yeah, that would work. And then the next one, definitely way bigger on the engage because it's just kind of a fun, goofy thing. And in this case, I made two skeletons here. They're having a wonderful time. I think students would just find this really kind of goofy and fun in this. And like with the word problems, like write your own word problems earlier, a chance to express yourself in a fun way. This one was particularly fun, and this is just kind of them thinking about it more in the same way as it was with the last one, but because there's like the tool is a little more complicated other than just writing out a word problem, they've kind of got to think about it and have like a little conversation between these two dudes or however they want to formulate their comic. And here is just kind of a rubric I made for my different learning objectives and like how I would measure them. And this is the kind of this is the assessments and learning objectives, the assessments, and this would be like the rubric here. Kind of doing a pass fail thing because it's nothing that crazy. It's not like you're writing a 100-word essay on the standard algorithm of multiplication. But then that would be taken to the reflect and share, which is kind of the final step where they take their understanding and then kind of talk about it, share it. And especially for me as a teacher in this situation, it would mostly be like a kind of time to check in with everybody to see where our understanding is, to see if we're ready to move on to the next thing, if we need to review, if there's some students that are ready, some students aren't, that kind of thing. And then my final thing was just going to be this Google form where I would just kind of ask them, name, what did you learn about today? Any questions that you have? Is there any issues that you have with today's lesson that could be improved? So just kind of getting feedback for both myself and them to understand what it is. So I'd say middling engage, a little bit of effectiveness. Well, I mean, it's effective for what it's trying to do, just like get information for me. Enhancement, it's probably a lot more efficient than doing this kind of thing on paper, so that's good. And then in terms of efficiency, it works. And nothing crazy, and that's all. So, yep. Oh, the group. Oh.